Hey everyone, welcome back to the deep dive. This week, we're putting on our helmets and taking a deep dive into some of the juiciest NFL Week 15 matchups. I mean, playoffs are just around the corner. Some teams are already popping champagne, others clinging to that last shred of hope. And we've got a whole stack of reports, articles, insider scoops
Mhm.
to break it all down. So
Mhm.
by the end of this deep dive, you'll be the sharpest mind in your fantasy league. Oh, and don't forget, hit that follow and subscribe button for more deep dives just like this one. All right, let's jump right in.
All right, so week 15 is really where things start to get interesting, right? I mean, you see teams start to show their true colors, and you see those key narratives solidify
Yeah.
that separate the contenders from the pretenders.
Okay, so let's kick things off with a matchup that honestly had me doing a double take when I saw the odds. Cowboys at the Panthers. And the Panthers are favored. I
Yeah.
mean, they haven't been favored all season. Are the odds makers giving the Cowboys a little too much disrespect here, even with all their struggles? Well, it's not necessarily disrespect. You got to look at the Cowboys injury report. I mean, it reads like a novella at this point. Uh, their offensive line is missing, what, 60% of its starters? I mean, Zach Martin,
Hmm.
remember that horrific knee injury to Marvion Overshown, suffered multiple torn tendons. Just devastating for their run game.
Right, and let's not forget the mental impact of that Bengals beat down last week. I mean, Micah Parsons practically had a meltdown on the sidelines. What did our sources say about the Cowboys' mental state heading into this one?
Yeah, there's a real lack of confidence
Yeah.
in the locker room right now. Several analysts suggested that, and they're going up against a Panthers team that's starting to click. Bryce Young, remember all the doubts about him early in the season. His completion percentage against the blitz has jumped from like 52% to 68% in the last 3 weeks. He's growing under pressure. Okay, so Young's exceeding expectations, but I'm still not sold on this Panthers defense. Can they really shut down even a wounded Cowboys offense?
Well, that's the big question mark, isn't it? One report highlighted their struggles against the run, and even with the Cowboys' injuries, they still have Zeke Elliott. If he has a big game, the Panthers might be in trouble.
All right, so file that one under games to watch closely. Let's move on to Steelers at Eagles. Now, on paper, this is a clash of titans, but
Yeah.
what really caught my eye was all this A.J. Brown drama. I mean, the guy's clearly not happy about his lack of targets. Do you think they're just going to try to force feed him the ball this week to keep him quiet?
Well, a couple of our sources suggested that
Okay.
there was a closed door meeting with Brown and the coaching staff. He apparently aired his grievances, and the consensus is that they're going to try to get him more involved
Yep.
in the game plan this week.
But isn't that kind of risky against a defense like Pittsburgh's? I mean, they've got that tough secondary. Can Brown really break out against them?
It'll be a fascinating chess match. One analyst pointed out that the Steelers have been vulnerable to deep routes, and that's where Brown excels. So if the Eagles can exploit that, he could have a huge day.
Yes.
But the Steelers are known for their adjustments.
Okay, now for a matchup that left me utterly baffled, the Falcons are 4-point favorites over the Raiders. I'm not sure what universe the odds makers are living in. The Falcons are imploding. 4 straight losses.
Yeah, it does seem odd at first glance, but if you dig a little deeper, the Falcons' struggles can be traced back to one thing: Kirk Cousins. 0 touchdowns, 8 interceptions in the last 4 games. Yikes.
Yeah, his decision making has gone off a cliff. But aren't the Raiders on a 9-game losing streak?
Yeah.
How are the Falcons favored here?
So one of our sources had a really interesting point. Apparently, the Falcons have simplified their offensive scheme significantly to try and help Cousins get back on track. Now, if that doesn't work against a struggling Raiders defense, there might be some serious panic in Atlanta.
So are you saying the Raiders are a sneaky upset pick?
I wouldn't go that far, but this game could be a lot closer than people think.
Okay, let's move on to some other interesting matchups.
Yeah. Speaking of struggling quarterbacks, we got to talk about the Bengals.
Yeah.
And they're fading playoff hopes. They're on the road against a Titans team that's already been eliminated.
Yeah, this is a must-win for Cincinnati, but it's not going to be a cakewalk. What stood out to you in the research about this matchup?
Well, the Titans might be out of the playoffs, but they've been playing spoiler lately,
Yeah.
especially on defense. And one source highlighted the matchup between Calvin Ridley and Bengals cornerback Josh Newton. as a potential turning point. Newton has really struggled since stepping in for the injured DJ Turner.
So a classic prove-it game for the young cornerback. If Ridley can exploit that weakness, the Bengals could be in trouble.
Exactly. On the other hand, if Newton rises to the occasion,
Yeah.
it would be a huge boost for their playoff chances.
All right, let's shift gears to the Cardinals. They've lost 3 straight and are fading fast in the NFC West. They're facing a Patriots team that's also out of the playoff picture. What's the story here?
Well, both teams might be out of contention, but there are still some fascinating subplots. Remember the Patriots coaching shakeup? Bill Belichick's move to North Carolina was a bombshell.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how the Patriots respond under new leadership. What did our sources say about the team's morale?
Reports suggest that the players are eager to prove themselves. And there's a lot of buzz around the rookie matchup between Cardinals wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr. and Patriots cornerback Christian Gonzalez.
Oh, that's a great point. Two potential future stars going head to head. What did the scouting report say about this matchup?
Well, analysts highlighted Gonzalez's speed and physicality as key advantages against Harrison, who's known more for his route running and precise cuts. This could be a preview of some epic battles in the years to come.
Now for a game with some serious playoff implications, Colts on the road against the Broncos. Both teams are coming off their bye week, so this should be a good one.
Absolutely. A loss here would be a major blow for either team. The Colts need to keep pace in that AFC wildcard race, and the Broncos are fighting to hold on to their current playoff spot.
Any key matchups or stats that jumped out at you?
Yeah, one analyst pointed out that the Broncos' pass rush has been ferocious lately, and they're going up against a Colts offensive line that struggled with consistency. If Nick Bonito can wreak havoc on the edge, the Broncos have a good shot at winning this one.
Speaking of good matchups, how about Bills at Lions? This feels like a potential Super Bowl preview. The Lions are on an 11-game winning streak, and the Bills are looking to bounce back from that upset loss to the Rams.
This is definitely a game you can't miss. One of our sources suggested that the key matchup will be Lions running back Zach Charbonnet against the Bills front seven. Remember, Charbonnet had a monster game last week, filling in for Kenneth Walker III.
Yeah, that was impressive. If he keeps that up, the Lions could be tough to beat. But what about the Bills? Any insights about how they might try to bounce back?
One report I read suggested that they're focusing on containing the Lions' rushing attack. They want to force Jared Goff to beat them with his arm. It'll be interesting to see how that strategy plays out.
All right, let's wrap up with a quick look at the Monday Night Football doubleheader. First up, we've got a divisional clash between the Bears and the Vikings.
The Vikings are looking to solidify their playoff position, while the Bears are just hoping to avoid another embarrassing loss. One storyline I found interesting was Sam Darnold's resurgence. He had 5 touchdowns last week against the Falcons.
Yeah, he's been playing with a lot of confidence lately, but can he keep that up against a Bears defense that's been surprisingly tough at times?
That's the big question. One of our sources suggested that the Bears are actually planning to double team Justin Jefferson, which could open things up for Darnold's other targets. It's a risky strategy, but it could pay off.
And we can't forget about that second game in our Monday Night Football doubleheader. Falcons taking on the Raiders in a matchup that could have some huge implications for the NFC South.
Yeah, this is a must-win for the Falcons. I mean, they've lost 4 straight, surrendered the division lead to the Buccaneers. Facing the Raiders, a team on a 9-game losing streak, it might seem like the perfect opportunity to get back on track. Yep. But you know what they say about trap games.
Right. The Falcons haven't exactly looked like world beaters lately. and the Raiders, despite their record, have shown some fight in recent weeks.
Yeah, one thing that stood out to me in our research was the matchup between Falcon center Drew Dolman and Raiders defensive tackle John Jenkins. Dolman has been excellent since returning from injury, but Jenkins, he has a knack for disrupting running games.
So if the Raiders can shut down the Falcons' run game, it puts even more pressure on Kirk Cousins and that struggling passing attack.
Exactly, and if Cousins can't deliver, well, things could get ugly in Atlanta.
All right, so before we wrap up here, let's circle back to our initial question. With so much on the line in Week 15,
Hmm.
which of these underdogs has the big chance to pull off a surprise victory?
Ooh, that's a tough one. There are a few intriguing candidates.
I mean, the Raiders at home
Yeah.
against the struggling Falcons team
Yeah.
definitely stands out, and we can't rule out the Panthers, even though they're technically favored this week. You know, their season-long performance
Yeah.
suggests they're still an underdog in many people's eyes.
Hey, and let's not forget about the Bengals. I mean, they need a miracle to make the playoffs,
Uh.
but they've shown they can play with anyone when they're on their game.
So much drama, so much intrigue. Week 15 is shaping up to be a wild one.
That's the beauty of the NFL. Any given Sunday, anything can happen.
So there you have it, folks. We've covered the must-watch matchups, the hidden storylines, and the potential upsets that could shake up the playoff picture. Hopefully, this deep dive has given you some insights you won't find anywhere else. Be sure to hit that follow and subscribe button for more deep dives that take you beyond the headlines and into the real story. Until next time, happy watching.